I do have a question here from Stifler. He says, ask everyone to rate their own looks on a scale of 1 to 10, starting with you. Rate your own looks on a scale of 1 to 10.
10.
Okay.
8.
All right.
9.
Okay.
I have a question about this game.
Okay.
Is this the entire dating pool from age 14 to 80? Is this compared to people at the table? Is this compared to people my own age 41?
Yeah, I would take a general sampling of all of the women who are inside of the United States who are adults, right? And you can envision the question this way if it's easier for you. You're at a beauty pageant, okay? And there's 100 men, and they're all going to give you a rating based on that average of all of the women who exist who are adults in the United States, and whatever that medium is, 1 to 10, is where you're going to place yourself.
4.5.
Okay.
What would have your answer have been before that clarification?
At the table, a 3. Of women my own age, a 6.
Okay. All right. What about you, Tiffany?
8.
Okay.
10.
10 for you. Okay.
6. 3.69.
60.
What's your real answer?
3.
Oh, okay. Wait, so 10, 8, 9, 8, 10? Oh, we got to rate ourselves too. I give myself a 5. Andrew?
10.
Hell yeah.
Well, wait. Why is everybody laughing? You don't believe me?
No, I love the confidence.
Oh, it's confidence? Is it objectively
and
true?
well met. LOL Paladins donated $200.02. I'm a hitman. I murder people for a living, but it's okay. Don't judge me how I make my money.
Okay.
You think it's objectively true that 10 being the most handsome men who exist on planet Earth, that I'm in that same category? You think that's objectively true then?
If you think you're a 10, then you are a 10.
No, that's not what I asked. I didn't ask if I think. I've asked you. Objectively, then you think objectively that I am on par with the most handsome men on planet Earth?
I have to see you standing up in person in front of me, but off the confidence, I'll give you a 10 too.
Okay, but what about the looks? The thing we're judging, which has nothing to do with the confidence, because we're judging the physical characteristics.
I like the beard. The hair is fine.
Mm-hmm.
10.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
Okay, great. So well, it's nice to hear that I am amongst the gods, the Greek gods amongst men, the chiseled statues which remained of the abs and the epitome of masculine, handsome energy. I'm glad that you agree that I am in that category.
Yeah, if we were rating confidence, that's a totally different scale. Like, I'm a very confident woman. My confidence is a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
Word.
You can totally give yourself a 10. Why
Yeah.
not?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you can lie.
No, I don't think it's about lying.
A couple of years ago, there was
okay, so what even makes the statement truth apt? Do you honestly believe then? Like, here's my honest question to you, right? I gave you the clarification. You have a group of men, right? A random sampling of men, and you're going to go down this walkway, and they all can hold up a sign 1 to 10 to rate you, and you're going to go off of whatever the medium is of what they rate. You honestly think that they're going to rate you a 10? That's what the average answer is going to be?
Who are you talking to?
Yeah, in this case, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What would you rate me?
I think you're an average-looking girl, probably 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the thing is like, when I don't really understand why people scoff at that, because we have to have an average, right? Like a mean that we can compare everything to. And I think that being put in the category of average doesn't mean that you're plain or that you're bad or even bad looking. I think it can be you're very good looking as an average looking woman, right? Below average would be like very obese, things like this, all the things which you compare endlessly yourself to when you're comparing yourself to other women, right? You know what an average looking woman looks like, you know what they don't look like. But for some reason, this has become some kind of grave insult to just say, hey, you look like a normal girl. Good. But I don't know why there has to be this beauty-a-thon where everybody has to be amongst the most beautiful women on planet Earth, which, by the way, the Whatever podcast has the most beautiful women on it on planet Earth. All you have to do is ask them.
It's true. I mean, as can be evidenced by the panel I've collected today.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You had something. Go ahead.
So the way that I feel like this topic or conversation relates to outcomes makes me think of this documentary or docuseries that was on Netflix several years ago. It was called The Science of Sex Appeal or something like that. And one of the research experiments that they did is they had 10 men and 10 women, and they were all maybe they were all dressed in black or all dressed in white, and they had caps on. They were dressed to be neutral human figures, and each woman had a card taped to her head 1 through 10, and each man had a card taped to their head 1 through 10, and you didn't know what your number was. And the point of the game was to try to pair with somebody, one man, one woman, and try to get the highest number possible. And obviously everybody starts to want to try to match with 8, 9s, and 10s until the 8, 9s, and 10s don't match with you, and then you start to accept lower and lower so that you can get the highest number, so that you can find a match. And
yeah, so this is I've seen this experiment done. This is, but there's many variations on it. But this is a basic sociological experiment, very similar to the werewolf and village experiment, right? It's the same type of game. It's applied to kind of figure out delusion or non-delusion. I haven't heard of that one specifically, but I've heard of games which were similar to that. And so ultimately, though, you find out that a lot of people were very delusional about that, what they thought that number was, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and you start to, I'm going to say, settle.
Right.
And you start to learn what your number is.
Couple questions on here. I want all of you to rate me on this, and I will not be offended. You can give me your honest, genuine rating.
2.
I'm not gonna.
2.
Okay, shut up, Andrew. All right, what about you? Go
I'm
ahead.
a 10. I can say what I want.
I would rate you 6.5.
Okay.
3.
3. Okay. This girl over here, the 10 over here is lying, or not laughing, by the way. Remember that. Okay, go ahead.
8.
8?
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
But if
Come
I'm allowed to
on,
say a little more, when I first saw you today in person,
It was higher.
no, that's
then-
not what I'm getting
Oh, okay.
at. I had a feeling that in the past you had a lower self-esteem than you have right now, and that you glowed up. I do not know how it was. I have no idea about your biography or anything, but it's definitely an 8.
Wait, pull up my old Instagram photos. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I sensed, that in the past you probably felt less attractive than you became, and right now that's, for me personally, it's a solid 8.
That's you
Yeah,
felt?
that's just, yeah.
Are you psychic?
No. Why?
Just because that's what you that was your vision when you first saw him.
That was my impression, for sure.
I had a glow up.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's
I don't know.
my
I
impression.
had a fat up. I got chubby, man. All right, pull up the Instagram. This is young Brian F11. F11.
This is before Brian
Is
found
that
out
you in the
about-
crop
Scroll
top?
down. Scroll all the way to.
Is that you in the
bottom.
crop top up there?
Hold up. All the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. All right, you can scroll up a bit. All right. Keep going. Just kind of scroll up. All right. Scroll up. Scroll up. Anyways, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You think I'm better looking right here
Yeah.
than in those pictures?
Yes.
Hello?
It's my taste. I would not like you.
I
if
like facial hair too. So
Saw
that's
you.
that's a plus for
on
you.
those pictures.
Okay,
first,
I guess
yeah.
put that down as a W for Brian. Okay. What do you rate me?
You're a 6, but I also wanted to add that when I think of the scale 1 through 10, sometimes I've heard people describe the scale 1 through 10 like 9 to 10 is the top 10%, 8 to 9 is the 80 to 90%. But when it comes to averages, that's not how bell curves work. There's a lot more people that live in the 4 to 6 zone. Like when it comes to like a standard deviation at 0, you're about 66% of the people are gonna be within that middle average.
Okay, I agree with that. What do you rate me? Oh boy.
Like a 4.5 or 5.
Okay, what do you rate me?
I give you a 9.
Bruh, come on, dude.
I would.
She give me a 9 out of it. All right, what do you give me?
A 6.
Gives me a 6. Okay, what do you give me?
4.
A 4. All right.
Okay, to the girl who rated you a 9, I have to ask, can you describe for me what an ugly woman looks like?
An ugly woman?
Yeah.
Into the mic.
Why would I describe an ugly woman? We're not even talking about women right now. Mister?
Yeah, I know. Can you describe for me though what an ugly woman looks like?
Did you just assume?
Like you do agree that there are some women who on the planet who are ugly, right?
No, I don't think any woman on this planet are ugly.
So then your
Erroneous!
standard is
Erroneous!
that there's no such thing as anybody who's a person can be in a burn victim ward, half their face is melted off, their tongue is sticking out, they have a hunchback on their back, right?
Mm-hmm.
This person is still, you consider them to be physically attractive.
I mean, yeah. Have you seen The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Yeah, you consider Quasimodo physically attractive, do you?
Honestly, if he can be the lead in a Disney movie, then he is attractive. I think beauty is in the eye. Like, you have to think about it. Like,
I agree. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. So I'm asking, what is the least beautiful type of person you can describe? Because I would consider that to be ugly.
to someone who's like evil. Like, I think if you're a bad person, you're ugly. But
Yeah,
like,
but what about their physical characteristics, not their emotional or innate characteristics?
like,
Let's say a person was in a coma and had never spoken a word their entire life, right? So you had no idea what their personality was like. You could only see what they physically looked like.
mm-hmm.
Inside of that situation, the person who physically looked the worst would look like what?
I don't even like. I don't even know how to answer that. Like, why not think about pretty things? Like, why are we thinking about ugly people?
Well, because in order to think about what is pretty, I think that you have to have the other end of the standard, which is what is not pretty. And so I'm asking you what a thing which is not pretty in a person looks like physically. Otherwise, how can we judge a standard, for instance? How can I judge your standard for what beautiful is if you can't tell me the other end of it, which is what ugly is? How could I ever judge your standard as being something which is in any way, shape, or form dependable?
Okay. Well, I just think. Well, can I just say what I find attractive about Brian? Is it Brian? Or is it Brandon?
Now, how about you tell me what you find unattractive about
I don't know. Like, I just find I feel like my brain like is at a point where like attractiveness is really just based on like the inside. Like, would you ask this question to Stevie Wonder?
Yes. Stevie Wonder, yes, I would ask him, what does a beautiful woman look like? And he'd be like, well, I think, he would dive into, I'm guessing that she has a voluptuous bosom and a nice rounded hiney and all sorts of different things that I'm sure Stevie Wonder would say, as my understanding was that Stevie Wonder had a way with the ladies once upon a time. So I'm guessing he had a standard as well.
Okay, I do have standards and they're very high. But I just...
Oh, well, what a shock. So you have really, really high standards for the type of men you will date, right? And so then we rule out all types of men you won't date. What do the types of men you don't date look like by chance?
Well, I know their pockets look empty. That's one. I don't like brokies. I like a guy who's ambitious.
Yeah, I know, great. I'm just the physical characteristics.
Okay,
right?
okay. I don't like guys. Okay, I guess for my preference, I don't like guys with blonde hair that much. Even though my first kiss was a blonde guy, but like I want to have like, a tall dark stallion. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like guys who look like childish. Like when you were younger, you looked a little bit childish. But like that's okay because you were young. But like why do I have to answer what I find unattractive?
So you don't like soft doughboy looking men.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. So you would consider them to be unattractive.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, can you tell me what would be an unattractive standard for a woman?
Why does it have to be a woman? Like, I think all women are beautiful.
Why does it matter? How can you say what's unattractive in men but not women? How would you ever judge what a beauty standard is? How could you endlessly compare yourself to women if you can't even tell me what an unattractive woman looks like? And now, hang on. Here's the part where you bullshit me. I never compare myself to other women. Don't bullshit me. Don't bullshit me. Just tell me, what does an unattractive woman look like?
I don't compare myself to other women, first of all.
Okay, sure. Okay.
And
you're the only one on planet Earth who's never compared yourself to another woman.
I mean, I wouldn't say never, but I just feel like an unattractive woman is like a really mean, evil woman. Like, I don't know what she would look like.
Physical characteristics. Physical, yes.
Like,
I feel like obviously there's conventional beauty standards.
Yeah.
So of course, like we as women do things to make ourselves more attractive conventionally, right? So,
yeah, but how would you know what that was unless you were comparing yourself to other women?
of course, I do compare myself to other women.
Yeah. That's a totally honest answer that I can respect. I understand that.
Of course.
I understand saying I compare myself to other women. That's how I know what the conventional beauty standard is, and that's how I know what's attractive or unattractive. So I'm guessing from your position, for instance, a woman who is like 300 pounds and 5'6", you would probably rule out as being particularly attractive, right?
Yes, but I do think that like in this day and age, there's so much that you can do you can make yourself attractive. Like you could start off ugly and overweight, and you can do a lot to yourself to make yourself suddenly attractive.
I'm not disputing that you can't change physical characteristics to make yourself more attractive. All I'm asking
is what is unattractive?
An unattractive woman
okay.
looks like.
Unattractive, I would say, is overweight. I'm big on teeth, so like messed up teeth, acne, skin. I think unhygienic. Like hygiene is a big factor of attractiveness to me, so that would be like clean nails, clean teeth, shower, odor. Those things also play a role in appearing attractive, I believe. But of course, like do you do your hair, your makeup, your nails, and everybody has different levels do they want a full beat on their face of makeup, or do they just want like a little something, But like, I think that would be probably my answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if a woman fit those criteria for what you consider to be unattractive, and let me just make sure I can go through the list, which I think is a reasonable list. Obesity, not very hygienic, which I think if you're highly obese, usually you're not very hygienic anyway, right? That usually goes kind of hand in hand. You would agree with that, right? Like not
more
always,
or less,
but generally.
More or less.
Generally, more or less, right? Lots of acne on the face, really bad teeth, right? All of these different things, gross hair, you consider all those to be qualities of an unattractive woman. So I would tend to agree that that's true. So would you say if one of those women then called themselves a 10, that they were delusional? That's my question.
Yes.
And to the 10, would you say that a woman had those characteristics and said that she was a 10, would she be delusional?
Yeah, but it's okay to live in delusion it's not hurting me if you are conventionally unattractive and believe you're
it's okay
a 10.
to live in delusion?
It's not my life. If you want to live like that, I don't care. Like, it really doesn't affect me.
Would you prefer to live in delusion or
no?
not
I would prefer to live in reality. But
don't you think most people? If people.
But it's also not my job to go up to someone who believes that they're a 10 and be like, no, you're not.
Yeah, but don't delusional people affect reality? With their delusions? I mean, that's literally why we lock delusional people up.
I feel like in a place like reality. LA, if you believe you're a 10 and you are clearly not a 10, reality is going to hit you like a brick wall, especially in California.
Yeah, I agree with that too. But back over to the 10, just time the answer from you. Would you say that if a woman met all those criteria for what she considered unattractive, and this person called themselves a 10, that they would be delusional?
I would say they're very confident, and they, Delulu is sometimes a Salulu. If that helps you go through the day, you thinking you're a 10, then more power to you.
So they're coping?
Yeah, like
They're coping?
yeah, they're coping. They're living in their world, and it's like they're not hurting anyone. So it's like
Yeah, they've already got enough going on. They're overweight. They have bad skin. They have bad teeth. They've already got enough on their plate. Like, let them have their little delusion, okay?
Yeah, but how do they change those things if you let them live in that delusion?
How do you change what? Sorry.
How do they change those things if you let them live in delusion?
If they want to live that lifestyle, that's for them.
Yeah, I know that might. So I'm going to ask the question though. Maybe answer the question I ask instead of the one I'm not asking. So here's a question I'm asking you. How does a woman who has all those characteristics but says she's a 10 and is living in delusion by your metric, how does she change these things if nobody ever tells her that she's delusional?
How does she change these things if no one tells her she's delusional? Maybe she doesn't want to. Who am I to decide that for her?
Do you think that a person, because remember how the gal, I guess from your perspective would be to my left in red, is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that from your perspective to my left?
No, I'm to your right.
To my right, okay. So to the gal to my right in the red, remember how she said, and I agree with this, and I think you do too, that people can have all sorts of unattractive traits, right, and change them. They can change them so that they can actually become more attractive and live more fulfilled lives. How can they do that if you let them live in delusion?
I think that there's like a gentle way to, say if you're severely overweight, like you can come at it less from a superficial perspective of like the aesthetics of it, and more so like, hey girl, like you want to come to the gym with me, you want to like go get sweet green for lunch instead of whatever you're eating, you can.
So as it turns out, it's not good to let them live in delusion. Well,
delusion, delusion in that,
not hurting anybody, so what's the problem?
Well, they might be hurting themselves.
Hang on. You said they're not hurting anybody, what's the problem with letting them live in delusion? When you get to the heart of it looks like there's quite a big problem with letting them live in delusion, and you would say, hey girl, let's go get a salad so that you can burn some of that fat off your body, right? That's what you would say to them, right? You wouldn't allow them to live in delusion. Apparently you see it as being a problem as well. That's interesting, right?
I think it's only a problem if it's somebody that, it's a problem to me if it's somebody that I love and care about, because then there can be actual like risks and health issues involved with that. But if it's just like a random person on the street who lives in delusion, like that's not really affecting me. But if it's someone that I love and care about, of course I would try and encourage them.
Yeah, but isn't that a great cruelty if somebody is living in delusion and you're just unwilling to tell them that they're being delusional because you don't want to hurt their feelings? Isn't that cruel? Isn't that actually the worst thing to do? Isn't that the cruelest thing that you can do to a person, is lie to them about their delusion?
I'm not lying to anybody. I'm just like ignoring people on the street that I don't know. Like I'm not lying to them. I didn't tell them they're a 10.
You're omitting the truth from them, right? And I'm guessing that if somebody
do you walk up to fat people on the street and tell them that they need to lose weight?
Yeah. Well, if somebody was walking down the street and said to a woman, let's say that she had a sign that said "I'm a beautiful 10" and she had all these unattractive qualities, and a guy walked over to her and went, no, you're not. You're ugly as sin because this, and this, and this, right? You need to change all that shit. You would probably say he's being mean. But that's not mean, right? He's pointing out this is delusional. How could these people change this if nobody ever tells them?
There's a difference between being rude and constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if the rudeness, right? What if the constructive criticism never jars a person out of the delusion, but rudeness does? So if somebody walks by and they're like, no, all these people are lying to you, they're bullshitting, right? They're all bullshitting you. You're not beautiful. You're actually quite ugly. And here's the things you need to change, and then you will be beautiful, right? Who's doing the bigger favor?
Well, I'll give you an analogy since you love analogies. So Lady Gaga was arguably incredibly delusional when she went to NYU Tisch. My brother went to Tisch, so he knows a little bit of the backstory of Lady Gaga, aka Stephanie. There was I guess she was super annoying in the program. She was in the recorded music program.
She's still annoying.
She was super annoying, and she would tell everybody she's gonna be famous, and that's all she wanted to do was be famous. They actually created a Facebook group at NYU called Stephanie So-and-so You Will Never Be Famous about Lady Gaga. And clearly, she was delusional enough and manifested that delusion into her current reality. So, I do think that people are very quick to call a lot of people delusional, but there is also a sense of delusion, and maybe believing in yourself can be called delusional. So I think it's a very subjective, but I think it's very subjective.
Yeah, exactly.
When you utilize an outlier, like you say, one chick in 100 million was able to become a massive pop star sensation, which is never going to happen to any of you at this table. It's never going to happen to anybody that you know, likely, right? Not saying it's impossible, but it's just the likelihood of it is not great, right? You would all agree that that's true. You're not going to become a Lady Gaga success story tomorrow. And if you did, it would be extraordinary. It'd be like getting hit by lightning twice. It's possible, but it's just very unlikely. So when you appeal to an outlier and you say, but some women can be delusional or some men can be delusional and still have good outcomes, I wouldn't even argue that that's true. But for the vast, vast majority of people, that's clearly not true. And it still seems to me that it would be a great disservice to pretend that a person is X just to feed into their delusion, especially if you think that telling them they could make those improvements so they could get there. Like, for instance, maybe there's a lot of things there that we're not thinking about with Lady Gaga. Maybe people told her things like, hey, you need to stop doing this, or maybe you need to get this tummy tuck, or maybe you need to get this boob job, or you have to do A, B, C, and D in order to be in this industry at all. And I'm sure she had to do all sorts of changes to break these delusions, right? So, yeah, I'm guessing even from the case of what you're talking about, there still had to be some delusion breaking. But isn't that ultimately the least cruel thing you can do, is tell people what the truth is so that they can take care of these problems?